Hey there gamers, welcome to Switch Mania. Are you ready to score big savings on some of the best Nintendo Switch games? Well, you're in luck because the latest eShop sale is here and it's packed with some incredible deals for indie fans. In this video, we'll be taking a closer look at the 20 best deals you won't want to miss in the new eShop sale. I've combed through the sale and picked out some of the most exciting indie games at the biggest discounts, so you can spend less time searching and more time playing. So whether you're a fan of action-packed adventures, mind-bending puzzles, or heartwarming stories, I've got something for everyone in this eShop sale. So sit back, relax, and let's dive in. ANNO Mutationem is an action-adventure game with a mix of cyberpunk and pixel art visuals. Players take on the role of a young girl and explore a futuristic city filled with mysteries, danger, and conspiracies. The game's combat mechanics are simple and easy to pick up, with players using melee attacks, ranged weapons, and psychic powers to fight off enemies. One of the strengths of ANNO Mutationem is its unique visual style. The combination of pixel art and 3D environments create a distinctive and immersive world that is both retro and futuristic. The game's soundtrack is also noteworthy, with an excellent blend of ambient and electronic music that complements the game's cyberpunk aesthetic. However, the game is not without its flaws. The controls can be clunky at times, and the camera can be frustrating to work with, especially during combat. The story also feels incomplete and leaves many questions unanswered, which can be disappointing for players looking for a more satisfying narrative experience. Overall, ANNO Mutationem is a visually stunning game with solid gameplay mechanics, but its flaws may detract from the overall experience for some players. Glyph is a 3D platformer game that puts players in control of a small spherical creature called the scarab that can jump, roll, and glide through a variety of different environments. The game's visuals are bright and colorful, with a whimsical style that is reminiscent of other indie platformers. One of the standout features of Glyph is its unique movement mechanics. The scarab can perform a variety of acrobatic maneuvers such as double jumps, wall runs, and mid-air dashes, which make traversal a joy. The game's levels are also well designed, with hidden secrets and collectibles that encourage exploration. However, Glyph is not without its flaws. The camera can be frustrating at times, especially in tight spaces or when trying to line up jumps. The game's difficulty curve can also be uneven, with some levels feeling too easy and others feeling unfairly difficult. Despite these issues, Glyph is a fun and charming game that will appeal to fans of 3D platformers. Its unique movement mechanics and charming visuals make it a worthy addition to the genre. Hand of Fate 2 is a hybrid game that mixes elements of card games, RPGs, and action-adventure games. Players take on the role of a hero who must navigate a series of challenges laid out by a mysterious dealer, using a deck of cards to determine the game's events and encounters. One of the strengths of Hand of Fate 2 is its deep and engaging gameplay mechanics. The game's card-based system is intricate and allows for a wide range of choices and strategies, while the combat and exploration elements are well executed and satisfying. The game also offers a good amount of replayability, with different card combinations and choices leading to different outcomes. However, Hand of Fate 2 is not without its issues. The game's difficulty curve can be steep at times, and some players may find the combat to be too simplistic or repetitive. Additionally, the game's story and characters can feel somewhat underdeveloped, which may be a turn-off for some players looking for a more narrative-driven experience. Despite these flaws, Hand of Fate 2 is a solid game that offers a unique and engaging gameplay experience. Fans of card games, RPGs, and action-adventure games will find plenty to enjoy here. Urban Flow is a puzzle game that challenges players to manage the flow of traffic in a busy city intersection. Players must use traffic lights and road signs to direct cars and prevent crashes, all while dealing with increasing levels of complexity and difficulty. One of the strengths of Urban Flow is its simple and intuitive gameplay mechanics. The game is easy to pick up and play, with a clear and concise tutorial that quickly teaches players the basics. The game's graphics and sound design are also top-notch, with a charming and colorful style that captures the bustle and energy of a busy city. However, Urban Flow is not without its flaws. The game can be quite short, with only a handful of levels to play through. Additionally, some players may find the game's difficulty to be a bit too easy, especially in the early levels. Despite these issues, Urban Flow is a fun and engaging puzzle game that is perfect for casual gamers or players looking for a quick and satisfying gameplay experience. Its charming graphics and simple mechanics make it an easy recommendation for anyone looking for a relaxing and enjoyable game to play. Subsurface Circular is a text-based adventure game that takes place entirely within a futuristic subway train. Players take on the role of a detective robot tasked with investigating the disappearance of other robots, all while interacting with a variety of unique and interesting characters. One of the strengths of Subsurface Circular is its intriguing story and well-crafted characters. The game's writing is excellent with a compelling and thought-provoking narrative that explores themes of artificial intelligence, automation, and the meaning of consciousness. The game's dialogue system is also well implemented, with players able to choose from a variety of different dialogue options to shape the course of the story. However, Subsurface Circular is not without its flaws. The game's lack of visuals may be off-putting for some players, as the entire game takes place within a single subway car. Additionally, the game's puzzle-solving elements can be a bit too simplistic, with some puzzles feeling more like obstacles to progress through the story rather than genuine challenges. Despite these issues, Subsurface Circular is a unique and engaging adventure game that is perfect for fans of science fiction and narrative-driven games. Its well-crafted story and interesting characters make it a standout in the genre. Die for Valhalla is an action-packed side-scrolling adventure game that places players in the role of a supernatural being tasked with protecting the land of Vikings from an invasion of evil forces. The game's standout feature is its unique possession mechanic, which allows players to possess various characters and monsters to use their unique abilities in combat. The game also offers a good variety of enemies and bosses, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. The game's graphics are charming and colorful, with a pixelated style that is reminiscent of classic arcade games. The game's music and sound effects also fit the Viking theme perfectly. On the downside, the game's difficulty can be frustrating at times, especially during boss battles. The game's controls can also feel clunky and unresponsive at times, which can lead to frustrating deaths. Overall, Die for Valhalla is a fun and entertaining adventure game with a unique possession mechanic and charming graphics. While it has its flaws, it's worth checking out for fans of side-scrolling adventure games and Viking-themed games. WINGSPAN is a digital adaptation of the popular board game, and it delivers a relaxing and enjoyable experience for bird enthusiasts and casual players alike. One of the game's standout features is its gorgeous artwork and relaxing soundtrack, which helps to create a calming atmosphere. The game also offers a wealth of information about various bird species, making it a great educational tool for anyone interested in learning more about birds. The gameplay mechanics are well designed and easy to learn, with players collecting bird cards and placing them in habitats to score points. There are also various bonus cards and end-of-round goals that add some strategic depth to the game. However, the game's single-player mode can become repetitive after a while, as it lacks the social interaction that makes the board game version so enjoyable. The AI opponents can also be predictable and lack challenge for experienced players. Overall, WINGSPAN is a great digital adaptation of a beloved board game. Its beautiful artwork, calming atmosphere, and accessible gameplay make it an excellent choice for both bird enthusiasts and casual players. However, the lack of social interaction and challenge in single-player mode may be a drawback for some players. Thea the Awakening is a turn-based strategy game that takes place in a dark fantasy world. It features an interesting blend of gameplay mechanics that includes card game and survival elements, making it a unique experience. One of the game's strengths is its deep and immersive storyline. Players take on the role of a god, trying to save their people from a mysterious force that threatens their existence. The game's narrative is well written and draws players in, making it easy to become invested in the story. The gameplay mechanics are also well designed, with a good balance between exploration, resource management, and combat. However, the game's difficulty can be a turn-off for some players, as it requires careful planning and strategy to succeed. On the downside, the game's graphics and sound design are lacking compared to other modern strategy games. The game's visuals are simplistic and can become repetitive over time. And lastly, the sound effects are unremarkable. Overall, Thea the Awakening is a solid strategy game that offers a unique experience for players. While it has its flaws, its deep storyline and well-designed gameplay mechanics make it worth checking out for fans of the genre. Sydney Hunter in the Curse of the Mayan is a retro-style platformer game that follows the adventures of Sydney Hunter as he explores ancient ruins in search for treasures. The game has an interesting concept, but it falls short in its execution. On the positive side, the game's pixel art graphics are well designed and the music fits the atmosphere of the game perfectly. The levels are also challenging and require players to use their wits to overcome obstacles and defeat enemies. However, the game is marred by its lack of polish. The controls are clunky and unresponsive at times, which can lead to frustrating deaths. The game's hit detection is also inconsistent, making it difficult to judge whether or not Sydney will make contact with an enemy or obstacle. Overall, Sydney Hunter in the Curse of the Mayan has potential but falls short due to its lack of polish. If you're a fan of retro-style platformers and are willing to overlook its flaws, then it might be worth checking out. Freedom Finger is a side-scrolling shoot-'em-up game that offers a unique twist on the genre by allowing players to control a giant middle finger that can punch, grab, and shoot enemies. The game's standout feature is its humor and over-the-top style, with ridiculous characters and dialogue that will keep players entertained throughout. The game also features a great soundtrack with original songs by various artists. The game's levels are well-designed and challenging, with a good variety of enemies and bosses to face off against. The game also offers a good amount of replayability with different paths and hidden collectibles to discover. On the downside, the game's controls can feel awkward and take some getting used to. The game's difficulty can be punishing at times, especially for players new to the genre. Overall, Freedom Finger is a fun and entertaining shoot-'em-up game that offers a unique twist on the genre. Its humor, over-the-top style, and great soundtrack make it worth checking out for fans of the genre and anyone looking for a good laugh. Kingdom Rush Frontiers is a tower defense game that delivers a fun and engaging experience for players. It offers a great mix of strategy and action, with players using various towers and heroes to fend off waves of enemies. One of the game's strengths is its level design, with each level offering a good amount of challenge and variety. The game also offers a good variety of towers and heroes to choose from, each with their unique abilities and upgrade paths. The game's graphics and sound design are also well done, with charming and colorful visuals and sound effects that fit the game's fantasy theme perfectly. On the downside, the game's difficulty can be frustrating at times, especially for players new to the genre. The game's in-app purchases can also be a turn-off for some players, as they can feel necessary to progress in the game. Overall, Kingdom Rush Frontiers is a great tower defense game that offers a fun and engaging experience for players. Its well-designed levels, variety of towers and heroes, and charming graphics and sound design make it worth checking out for fans of the genre. Coffee Talk is a visual novel game that takes place in a cozy coffee shop in a fantastical version of Seattle. Players take on the role of a barista and chat with various customers who come in for a drink, listening to their stories and helping them with their problems. The game's standout feature is its relaxing and charming atmosphere, with beautiful pixel art and calming soundtrack that makes the coffee shop feel like a warm and welcoming place. The game's characters are also well written and diverse, with interesting backstories and unique personalities. The game's dialogue system is well designed, allowing players to choose different responses that can lead to different outcomes and relationships with the characters. The game also offers multiple endings, adding to its replay value. On the downside, the game's pacing can be slow at times, with some conversations feeling repetitive or uneventful. The game's lack of interactivity may also be a drawback for some players, as there is little to do outside of reading and listening to the dialogue. Overall, Coffee Talk is a charming and relaxing visual novel game that offers a great atmosphere and well-written characters. While it may not be for everyone, fans of the genre and anyone looking for a cozy and heartwarming experience should definitely check it out. Xeno Crisis is a top-down shooter game that pays homage to classic games like Smash TV and Contra. Players take on the role of a space marine and fight their way through various levels filled with aliens and other dangers. The game's standout features is its challenging and rewarding gameplay, with well-designed levels that offers a good mix of action and strategy. The game also offers a good variety of weapons and upgrades to choose from, allowing players to customize their playstyle to their liking. The game's pixel art and soundtrack are also well done, with great attention to detail, and a classic 16-bit feel that will appeal to fans of retro games. On the downside, the game's difficulty can be punishing at times, especially for players new to the genre. The game's lack of tutorial or explanation of some mechanics can also be a drawback for some players. Overall, Xeno Crisis is a great homage to classic top-down shooters that offers a challenging and rewarding experience for players. Its well-designed levels, variety of weapons and upgrades, and great pixel art and soundtrack make it worth checking out for fans of the genre and anyone looking for a retro-inspired action game. Dark Souls Plus is a challenging platformer game that takes inspiration from games like Super Meat Boy and Celeste. Players take on the role of a brave duck and navigate through various levels filled with traps and obstacles. The game's standout feature is its difficulty, with levels that require precision and quick reflexes to complete. The game's controls are tight and responsive, allowing players to make precise movements and maneuvers. The game's pixel art and soundtrack are also well done, with a charming and retro-inspired look and feel that fits the game's challenging nature. On the downside, the game's difficulty can be frustrating at times. The game's lack of variety in level design and mechanics may also be a drawback for some players. Overall, Dark Souls Plus is a great platformer game that offers a challenging and rewarding experience for players. Its tight controls, great pixel art and soundtrack, and well-designed levels make it worth checking out for fans of the genre and looking for a difficult but fun game. Anodyne 2 Return to Dust is a unique game that blends elements of platforming, puzzle solving, and exploration. Players take on the role of Nova, a nano cleaner who travels through a surreal and dreamlike world, collecting dust and solving puzzles to progress. The game's standout feature is its surreal and otherworldly atmosphere, with a unique visual style that mixes low-poly 3D graphics with 2D pixel art. The game's sound design is also well done, with a haunting and atmospheric soundtrack that adds to the game's dreamlike nature. The game's puzzles are also well designed, with a good mix of challenge and variety. The game's platforming sections are also well done, with tight controls and interesting level design. On the downside, the game's pacing can be slow at times, with some sections feeling repetitive or drawn out. The game's story and characters may also be a drawback for some players, as they can be confusing or difficult to follow. Overall, Anodyne 2 Return to Dust is a unique and surreal game that offers a great atmosphere and interesting gameplay. Its blend of platforming, puzzle solving, and exploration make it a great choice for fans of the genre and anyone looking for a unique and memorable gaming experience. Garden Story is a charming and relaxing adventure game that puts players in the role of a grape named Concord who has to restore the island of Grove to its former glory. Players will explore the island, talk to residents, and complete various tasks to help them out. The game's standout feature is its charming and relaxing atmosphere, with a beautiful and colorful world to explore and great attention to detail in the game's environments and characters. The game's sound design is also well done, with a relaxing and upbeat soundtrack that adds to the game's cheerful nature. The game's mechanics are also well designed, with a good mix of exploration, puzzle solving, and combat. The game's combat is simple yet engaging, with a good variety of enemies to fight and upgrades to unlock. On the downside, the game's pacing can be slow at times, with some tasks feeling repetitive. The game's story and characters may also be a drawback for some players, as they can be predictable or cliché. Overall, Garden Story is a charming and relaxing game that offers a great atmosphere and engaging gameplay. Its blend of exploration, puzzle solving, and combat make it a great choice for fans of adventure games and anyone looking for a relaxing and enjoyable gaming experience. Phantom Doctrine is a tactical strategy game that takes place during the Cold War era, where players take on the role of a spy agency leader tasked with preventing a global conspiracy. The game's standout feature is its deep and complex gameplay mechanics, with a wide variety of skills, gadgets, and tactics at the player's disposal. The game's combat system is also well designed, with a good mix of stealth, melee combat, and range combat options. The game's story and atmosphere are also well done, with a great attention to detail in the game's Cold War War setting, complete with secret organizations, espionage, and conspiracy theories. The game's sound design is also well done, with a tense and atmospheric soundtrack that adds to the game's suspenseful nature. On the downside, the game's difficulty can be punishing at times, with some missions feeling frustratingly difficult or overwhelming. The game's graphics may also be a drawback for some players, as they are not as polished or detailed as other modern tactical strategy games. Overall, Phantom Doctrine is a deep and complex tactical strategy game that offers a great Cold War atmosphere and engaging gameplay mechanics. Its blend of stealth, combat, and espionage make it a great choice for fans of the genre and anyone looking for a challenging and immersive gaming experience. Cattails is a charming simulation game that puts players in the role of a cat living in a forest with other cats. The game features a day-night cycle and seasons, and players must hunt for food, explore the forest, and interact with other cats to survive and thrive. The game's standout feature is its charming and relaxing atmosphere, with a beautiful and colorful world to explore and great attention to detail in game's environments and characters. The game's sound design is also well done, with a soothing and calming soundtrack that adds to the game's peaceful nature. The game's mechanics are also well designed, with a good mix of exploration, crafting, and social interactions with other cats. Players can customize their cat's appearance and attributes, and there are a variety of quests and activities to complete throughout the game. On the downside, the game's pacing can be slow at times, with some tasks feeling repetitive or drawn out. The game's combat system is also simplistic and may not offer enough challenge for some players. Overall, Cattails is a charming and relaxing game that offers a great atmosphere and engaging gameplay. Its blend of exploration, crafting, and social interactions make it a great choice for fans of simulation games and anyone looking for a peaceful and enjoyable gaming experience. Wargroove is a turn-based tactical strategy game that puts players in the role of a commander, leading their army to victory on a colorful and vibrant battlefield. The game features a variety of units with unique abilities, along with a campaign mode and a level editor for players to create their own custom maps. The game's standout feature is its engaging and deep gameplay mechanics, with a wide variety of strategies and tactics at the player's disposal. The game's combat system is also well designed, with a good mix of range, melee, and aerial units to choose from. The game's graphics and sound design are also well done, with charming and colorful pixel art and a great soundtrack that complements the game's epic battles and heroic story. The game's campaign mode is also well written, with memorable characters and a great attention to detail in the game's world building. On the downside, the game's difficulty can be punishing at times, with some levels feeling frustratingly challenging or overwhelming. The game's multiplayer mode may also be a drawback for some players, as it lacks online matchmaking and can only be played locally. Overall, Wargroove is a fantastic turn-based tactical strategy game that offers deep and engaging gameplay mechanics, a well-written campaign mode, and a great level editor for players to create their own custom content. Its charming graphics and epic soundtrack make it a great choice for fans of the genre and anyone looking for a challenging and immersive gaming experience. One Night Stand is an interactive visual novel that puts players in the role of a character who wakes up in a stranger's bed with no memory of the previous night. The game's main objective is to explore the room and gather clues about what happened, as well as interact with the stranger and make choices that affect the outcome of the story. The game's standout feature is its engaging narrative and well-written characters, with a great attention to detail in the game's dialogue and storytelling. The game's art style is also well done, with a hand-drawn and colorful aesthetic that adds to the game's overall atmosphere. On the downside, the game's replay value is limited, as the story only offers a few different endings and can be completed in a short amount of time. The game's mechanics are also fairly simplistic, with limited interaction and exploration in the game's environment. Overall, One Night Stand is a well-crafted and engaging visual novel that offers a great story and memorable characters. Its art style and overall atmosphere make it a great choice for fans of the genre, and its focus on player choice adds to its replayability. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel for more gaming content. I'll be back soon with more reviews, recommendations, and rundowns on all the latest Nintendo games. And don't forget to let us know in the comments which games you pick up from the eShop sale and which ones you'd like us to cover next. Thanks for watching and happy gaming. Peace.